Welcome to Loup TV. I'm your host, Gene Munster, along with Doug Clinton. Our topic today is Google, Department of Justice, and their recent lawsuit. Just for some background, this has been widely anticipated. Department of Justice filed a formal lawsuit against Google, and the primary focus was on how Google presents its search results. Specifically, when you search for something commerce related in Google, shopping results are a priority, or some location in a Google Maps result comes up as a priority, or potentially a video in YouTube comes up. So it's this placement. Google's using its search as the top of the funnel and placing its own products ahead of other companies' offerings is what is central to the lawsuit today. Everything lit up when the lawsuit was announced today. And Doug, I'm curious, when you saw the news, what'd you think of?
I would say the stock also lit up on the positive side, despite the lawsuit, which to me says that it's not as bad as it could have been. If the lawsuit was worse than investors thought, obviously the stock would be down right now. And so I think the market reaction tells us that the lawsuit probably isn't really that bad. And to me, net net, maybe we see some modest changes to Google's business behavior, but it feels a lot like we've already seen in Europe, and that hasn't really changed much in that part of the world.
But let me dive into the stock reaction. This concept that this was better than or as anticipated by investors is, how do investors know? I mean, this has been widely anticipated. There's a long road, years ahead of legal proceedings, fines. There's potentially changes to their business. How on earth can an investor feel comfortable that this is as expected?
Again, I would go back to Europe. I think the baseline expectation is some of what we saw in Europe with Yelp and some of the changes Google had to make with its local results there. It feels like the basis of this case is very similar to that.
And by the
And
way, in
as I
that
said,
case, Google was fined. This is back, I believe, 2014. Google was fined $2.5 billion for essentially some things related to Yelp. A subsequent year, another $5 billion in fines.
exactly. And I think, again, we could probably see the same thing here. I think there's almost certainly going to be a monetary fine. And with the amount of cash Google has, 120 billion, I think it doesn't really matter. Again, and investors are sort of voting that way with their dollars right now. But I think you just look at case precedent with Yelp and say it wasn't that bad then. It doesn't feel like it'll be that bad in the US. And again, I think it will continue to be, for the most part, business as usual, and Google probably will make some small changes to the way that they present results over the next couple of years, even ahead of any resolution to the case.
I think that case precedence is central to this, and I totally agree with you. Is that if that's the case, that's the right to look at what happened with Microsoft and other Google maneuvering around Europe. Investors are probably going to be fine, and very little will change. I do believe, though, that ultimately this is going to take years to sort itself out, and just having this as part of the Google story, kind of continually. There's precedents that had some form of impact on Microsoft. The innovation piece, probably the lack of that, had a bigger impact on why the stock didn't do much. But my sense is, along with yours, that in the end, probably little ultimately changes. There is one important get out of jail free card that may play in the Google's favor here if the Department of Justice is actually focusing on consumer, making the consumer better off, not the competition side. That's probably an easier road for freedom for Google, because I think consumers generally like Google and it's for free. And so wish them the best of luck keeping those legal expenses down. On behalf of Doug, I'm Gene. This is Loop TV. Bye for now.